3 knocks shattered the silence. Not 2, not 4, exactly 3. Every night at 2:47 a.m. The first time, I thought it was a prank. I rushed to the front door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no elevator sound, nothing. The next night, it happened again. 3 slow knocks. I opened the door immediately. No one. Only the motion sensor light at the end of the hallway flickered before going dark. On the 3rd night, I decided to record everything. I aimed my phone at the front door and waited. 2:47 a.m. Knock, knock, knock. The sound came from the other side. I yanked the door open. The hallway was completely empty. My phone vibrated. The recording had already finished. With shaking hands, I played it back. The camera clearly captured the 3 knocks. Then, just before I opened the door, someone slowly walked past the camera from inside my apartment. I watched the recording over and over. The figure wasn't a shadow, it was a man. He calmly walked across my living room and disappeared into the darkness of the hallway. I never heard a single footstep. I searched the apartment, closets, bathroom, under the bed. Nothing. There was nowhere anyone could hide. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The chain lock on my front door was still fastened from the inside. No one could have entered, and no one could have left. The next night, I refused to sleep. At exactly 2:47 a.m. Knock, knock, knock. This time, I didn't move. Instead, I stared at the peephole. The hallway was empty. Then, a whisper came from the other side of the door. "Don't open it tonight." The voice sounded terrified. Before I could react, 3 loud knocks echoed again, not from outside, from the other side of my bedroom door, my bedroom, where I'd been sitting the entire time. I froze. The knocking came from inside my bedroom. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Knock, knock, knock. My apartment was silent again. I grabbed the kitchen knife and forced myself to open the bedroom door. Nothing. The room looked exactly as I'd left it. Then I noticed the bedroom window. It was unlocked. I never left it unlocked. Below it, on the carpet, were 3 muddy footprints leading toward my closet. My heart pounded as I pulled the closet door open. Empty. But taped to the back wall was a folded piece of paper. It was a floor plan of my apartment. Someone had circled my bedroom in red ink. At the bottom, a handwritten note read, "You're sleeping in the wrong room." Before I could make sense of it, my phone buzzed. A notification from my security camera. "Motion detected in your apartment." I looked up. The camera's live feed showed me standing in my bedroom while I was still holding my phone in the living room. My hands trembled as I stared at the live feed. The man on the screen looked exactly like me. Same clothes, same face, same terrified expression. He slowly turned toward the camera, then he smiled. I wasn't smiling. The screen suddenly went black. Camera offline. At that exact moment, knock, knock, knock. The sound came from my front door again. This time I forced myself to look through the peephole. A police officer stood outside. Relieved, I unlocked the door. Before I could speak, he whispered, "Do not let him know I'm here." "What are you talking about?" I asked. The officer glanced over my shoulder into my apartment. His face instantly lost all color. He grabbed my arm. "There's someone standing behind you." I spun around. The living room was empty. When I turned back, the officer was gone. No footsteps, no elevator, nothing. Only a folded note lying on the floor outside my door. I picked it up with shaking hands. It contained only one sentence. "Tomorrow night, don't answer the 3rd knock." The next evening, I prepared for exactly 2:47 a.m. Every light in the apartment was on, my phone was recording, the front door was locked. I held the note in one hand and watched the clock. 2:47, knock. I didn't move. Knock. The apartment remained silent. Then came the 3rd knock. I covered my ears and refused to answer. For nearly a minute, Nothing happened. Then I heard footsteps walking away. I looked through the peephole. An elderly woman was slowly leaving the hallway. She turned toward me as if she knew I was watching. Quietly, she said, "You finally listened." Before I could open the door, she stepped into the elevator and disappeared. The following morning, I asked the building manager if an elderly woman lived on my floor. His expression changed immediately. He pulled out an old newspaper clipping from nearly 20 years earlier. It showed the same woman. According to the article, she had lived in my apartment. For months, she had reported hearing 3 knocks every night at 2:47 a.m. One night, she opened the door after the 3rd knock. She vanished without a trace. Her body was never found. I moved out that same week. Months later, curiosity led me to drive past the building one last time. As I looked up at my old apartment window, I saw a young man standing inside. He looked frightened. Then, without thinking, I slowly raised my hand and knocked exactly 3 times on the glass.